Welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. Had a long break from Eagles game. They played last Thursday. So it's been still at football, obviously. So this is a week 2 recap and looking into week 3. But I guess initial thoughts. I know it's been a couple of days now, Tim, but how do we feel about the Eagles' victory over the Vikings? It was what was it? 34-28.
It was a game that was closer than it should have been. I feel like that was how the Patriots game was too. They're still a little stale on offense. I still don't think Hurts looks great. He missed a couple chances, but I mean, Swift. I mean, there was a couple drives, like the one where they scored the touchdown. They just literally just drove the whole length of the field running the ball. Swift looked really good, which is nice because I think everyone expected him to be the lead back going into the season. Devontae Smith continues to look excellent. I know AJ Brown got pissed, but Devontae Smith is looking like a top 5 wide receiver in the league. It's incredible.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, more importantly, the defense continues to create turnovers. They're dominant. I mean, Jalen Carter looks like a menace. Jordan Davis looks good out there. Secondary still making plays. There's little things here and there. The play calling is still going to take a little bit to go. You have a new offense coordinator. You're 2-0. I'm not going to get all in a headwind yet. They haven't looked super pretty, but they're 2-0. I don't. My stress levels don't need to be risen when we're undefeated. In the week 1 through 2, you just need to win games. Look at a team like the Bengals. They're 0-2 right now. Yeah. They lost to 2 divisional teams. There's miles apart from like a team like the Bengals, who everyone thinks are going to be really good to compete, and a team like the Eagles, who haven't looked great, but they still manage to keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think for all that's been said about the struggles that we've all pointed out and the issues that we've seen, like they are 2-0, right? So like they're still finding ways to win, and I like the Vikings. They're always like right in the playoff hunt towards the end of the year. So I mean, the Patriots are always tough, and they played the Dolphins tough on defense. So I think they're not the prettiest wins, but they were team wins. They grinded out, not great play. I mean, it's hilarious to look at the rushing yards, which is also like weird that last year our problem on defense was like giving up the run, but we were great against the pass. Yeah. And it's like complete opposite this year. Like we're phenomenal against the run, but horrible against the pass. I mean, granted,
that's what happens.
These teams are
Jordan Davis healthy and Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and these teams are also playing from behind. So like Kirk Cousins' stats are like super inflated in the fourth quarter, and same with Justin Jefferson. So I don't read too much into that. There are injuries in the secondary. Hopefully they'll work them out. I mean, we lost Maddox again. But hopefully Bradbury's back for. Well, now we play on Monday night against the Bucks, and then hopefully
you need Blanket back. I mean, you got a long week. You're hoping these guys get healthy. I mean, that is a concern. I didn't really see a ton out of Joby and what's the other guy's name that made me feel confident. They definitely look like young backups.
It's because they didn't know the situation that they were supposed to take one guy or cover zone or whatever they were doing.
It's going to keep happening. Yeah, I mean, it's early in the season. You're pulling these guys out who weren't really expecting to play all that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's things they need to work on. I was very happy with seeing the offensive line dominate like they normally do, because I think they look really great against the Patriots. They look much better this week. I think my biggest concern is kind of like the decision making Jalen is making. The one ball he threw for an interception was in double coverage, which was just a careless throw that he never made. Obviously missed a couple guys, Goddard in particular, in week 1. I mean, very mild level concern. He still made plenty of good plays, but there's like the decision-making part that, he was so good at. He never made mistakes last year. Every time he threw the ball, it was always in the right spot or always the right read. New OC, we'll see how much, if that improves going forward, but, you can't help but to be a little concerned by it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen will work. I think also being in like a new offense, I don't know how much it's different than what Steichen was running, but it's different in some aspects, I'm sure. So he's getting used to that, getting used to Brian Johnson's play calling. But hey, when you get homeboy DeAndre Swift with 175 yards,
You know,
you don't need to worry about Jalen playing super well. But he'll figure it out. I know he's been pretty vocal about needing to be better, and the whole thing with AJ Brown cracks me up because people are like, "Oh my God, he's gonna request a trade. Oh my God, he's a diva. Oh my God, he's selfish." Like, have you never seen a wide receiver claim like ask for the ball? Like
yeah, I
every
mean, they're best friends.
every
I'm
elite
not going to
wide
be disappointed in
receiver
that.
acts like that. They want the ball in their hands. Why and then why not? It just wasn't going his way, and this is only positive. Like it's not him and Jalen are best friends. Like them fighting is good for us because that means that they're going to be pushing each other. They're going to be trying to fix whatever is the issue. So I mean, look, I'm Monday night against the Bucks. I mean, I'm gonna put like you know AJ Brown 150 plus yards maybe. He's getting hungry. So
A 2-0 Buccaneers, though. There's a surprise that no one saw coming.
I mean,
Is it? No, I mean, Brian Johnson, obviously, he was in house. He was the quarterback's coach last year. Like, I kind of thought that the offense transition would have been seamless. It does definitely seem like they're dealing with a new OC. Some of the play calling has just been boring and
horrible.
didn't make any sense. I'm like, the other thing that's really surprised me is they've been going with this like one back kind of strategy rushing the ball. Like Gainwell had 14 carries. That was compared to another running back. That was 13 more than any other running back. Jalen obviously had 9 carries. But then this past week, DeAndre Swift had, I think it was 28 carries. Like, what happened to this running back committee approach they always did? I think that's Jalen's getting too many rushes. I thought when they brought in guys like Penny and Swift and kept, I know Gainwell's hurt, but you had all these running backs. You had 4 of them make the team. I thought this would be more of a rotational kind of thing, but here we are with Jalen Hurts, and he's already got 21 carries. It's almost, if it wasn't for 28 for Swift, he would be in the lead by far. It's just
Yeah.
surprising to see him. And then these runs they're coming up with aren't really exciting. It's like just quarterback draws or counter. They're very boring concepts.
Yeah, it's very uninspired offense. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's just playing it really safe because it's the beginning of the year, but I mean they definitely went deep a little more this game, so I'm hoping like as they get more comfortable, as they get more used to like game speed, that we'll see the offense kind of evolve and go back to how explosive it was last year. Because I mean, look, the ground and pound works, but like teams are eventually going to have to they'll adjust, they'll figure out ways to stop the run. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, don't go
or
with
at
your
least
quarterback either.
yeah, it's just a lot of head
It's
scratching.
just
Like they're getting the
I don't
wins,
get
but
I
there's
don't
like a
get
lot
it.
of like, what are we doing? Like,
You expect a little more from the offense. You expect them to look a little bit better by now. It's like there wasn't that much turnover from last year. Um, it's just surprising. Like you have 4 running backs, 3 of them are dual threat guys who can catch the ball, and you have a mobile quarterback. And these are the most boring rush concepts I've ever seen. And it wasn't the fact that you're going, well, I was just bullying Minnesota. I think they would have struggled a lot more running the ball because it's just so pale. Like I expected, 2 running backs in the back, run a couple options. RPOs don't seem to be there at all. It's just Jalen snaps it, tucks it, goes, slams in the middle, and for what, 3 yard gain? It's just Jalen on the ground is looks so boring.
hmm.
Yeah, I know he had 2 touchdowns, but you're talking about like 35 rushing yards on 12 carries. I don't know what it was he finished with the Patriots, but like I don't remember any big runs from him. It's just you're almost making him just you're taking away something he's really good at by being so boring and obvious about it.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean, we'll
know.
see. I mean, I'm sure that if we get my blood boiling, we're 2-0. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other games that'll piss me off a lot more than these two.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we escaped with the win in both. I mean, we didn't. I wouldn't say escape, but we handled business. Just September's always dirty. We just need to clean it up a bit. So we'll see.
Listen, there's plenty of other good teams that I would not want to be in their position. So it's week 2, you're 2-0, you move on.
Yeah. So elsewhere around the league, like we said, the Bengals are 0-2. They lost to the Ravens 27-24. They just I mean, I don't know what their
Look bad.
problem is, but maybe it's because they face 2 pretty good defenses back to back weeks, but they just look rough.
Yeah,
Joe.
I mean,
I mean, Joe Burrow did say
Burrow was out, but
yeah, his ankle or his whatever, his calf is bothering him. But
But
I
your
mean,
defense sucks too. The
Jamar's
team stinks.
been Jamar's been irrelevant. Our preseason MVP and offensive players of the year are doing nothing. So it's weird. They got to win. I don't know who they're playing yet. We haven't looked, but they got to win this week. It's gonna be bad going forward if they start on 3. Um, so week 2 was funny because at one point I think I stopped paying attention to some of the games. Like there were winners in hand. Like these teams were cruising. And then all of a sudden I checked the scoreboard like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'm like, those teams won? Like what they
It's
were
crazy.
losing.
So many comebacks. So
Like
many comebacks.
so starting off the lines were cruising in Seattle pretty much. I mean they weren't dominating, but they were winning all game from what I remember. And then
Yeah.
they lost in overtime 37-31. Um for whatever reason, Lions and Seahawks is every year is a shootout. I don't know why.
That's true. They're very entertaining. Vikings and Lions and Seahawks. Get the DVR
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. So that's there. But Lions cooled off a little bit. I think I saw Gardner Johnson's out for either the year or for extended amount of time. I forget. So that's
A
not
lot of
good news.
injuries this week.
There's a lot of bad injuries. Um, Speaking of injuries, the Colts beat the Texans 31-20. Anthony Richardson was looking solid and then was concussed out of the game. I don't know if he was officially declared a concussion, but that's what he was being checked for, and he didn't come back from what I remember.
Yeah, he's very exciting, that guy, but he is going to get crushed if he doesn't
Yeah,
protect himself a little bit.
yeah, you can't be throwing yourself out there and slamming your head against the ground. You got to cover up a little bit better, but
Yeah, I mean, it looks good running the ball. I mean, there's a lot of promise there, but he's going to learn quickly. These hits hurt if he doesn't,
yeah,
try to protect himself a little bit more.
yeah, we'll see. The Bucks moved to 2-0 under Baker Mayfield. Beat the Bears 27-17.
Bears suck. I think
Bears,
Justin Fields is probably terrible.
the Bears
The
definitely do suck.
So are the Buccaneers the most surprising 2-0 team right now? Would really
um,
anyone in any of the 3 teams that are 2-0 in the division have to be the most surprising?
yeah, I would probably say in pecking order, Falcons most surprising. Then I would say Washington because Washington's defense has actually played pretty well, and they got Chase Young back, which was surprising. Um, then I would say the Bucks. Then I guess who's left? Saints, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, Dolphins.
Look at that. Joe Burrow is 0-2, but Sam Howell, Desmond Ritter, and Baker Mayfield are all 2-0.
If you had told me that, like I would have called you.
The
Would have
NFL is
called
a weird place.
Would have called the Ward Hospital to get this guy back in rehab. But
Yeah, it's a weird place.
I don't know what's going on. That's why September is great and horrible for whoever you root for because you just don't know what's going on. Like there's so much question. And teams have made it out of September after playing poorly and still gotten to the Super Bowl or the playoffs. So there's definitely time to figure it out. But see, Chiefs got back on the winning side, 17-9 of Jags. Pretty ugly game. Jaguars just a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of they had at least 2 or 3 balls that were like right at the end of the back of the end zone, and they couldn't make. I think Ridley couldn't make a catch, and then it might have been really twice. So they kind of kicked us on the foot, some turnovers, but
yeah, listen, that's where you look at the Eagles. You're like close game, good teams find a way to win. The Jaguars in there the whole time and just couldn't capitalize.
It's crazy how many times, even on the Monday night games, I'm watching these quarterbacks who. They have all the time in the world, then they scramble around, and then they still get sacked. I'm like, you got to know, like, where's that internal clock in your head that, look, you didn't see anything outfield, you tried to move out of the pocket, still wasn't anything there, throw it away. Like
I mean, plenty of quarterbacks never get that. Look at Carson Wentz. That literally ended his career because he just never figured that out.
I know.
Speaking of Monday Night Football, what are your thoughts on this doubleheader? Because now we just had one and we have another one this week.
Is this
I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst idea I've ever seen.
I don't enjoy it, simply for the fact that I don't have cable. So like, I can't. It's not
just because you're a broke boy. Don't start crying to us now.
Well, no, I don't have cable as in like direct line to the. I have to stream, so I stream. I'm through like Verizon Fios, but I don't have like cable set up, so I have to figure out how to stream two games at once on the same platform. Like ESPN is so strict and annoying about like, oh, you're already using this device on one system, whatever. Like
but the other thing is I don't get is now I know they used to do these double headers like
to
first week of
start the year,
the NFL
yeah,
season or whatever. Yeah, but it was always like I mean the game was like 8, and then like I feel like they had one at 10 o'clock or like
yeah,
something later, a West Coast. This whole like 7:15 and 8:15, like the games are completely overlapped. Like if you're gonna have two games at the same time, I need red zone. You need to get me red zone. I
yeah,
need some bounce back. Don't give me this shit with I can't watch one game. I don't get it. You dilute it like national TV. That's the whole point. Is everyone's watching your game. Now you're
yeah.
put in position where you want to watch this game or that game.
Or do
I don't
like,
get it,
or do
especially
like,
when you're the same network.
do like 6:30 and 8:30 or something. Like it just doesn't make sense to have them that close. Because I
Yeah, I
barely
hate
got
the
to
one
watch.
hour.
I barely got to watch the
It's like
Saints game. I watched Cleveland and
yeah. I've
Pittsburgh.
I don't know
So
how many games are there because I know this week we are in the
16.
doubleheader as well. Are they doing that all year?
I sure hope not.
The Monday
Um,
night like doubleheader thing, like that is just I can't believe we've gone on this far though.
so next week, yes, for this coming up week, and then the week after that is one game. Week after that doesn't tell me. I'm assuming it's gonna chill out.
It's just
Yeah, I mean,
you would
two,
hope. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like it's just two doubleheaders.
yeah,
Seems very odd.
still
And
weird.
these games aren't really super sexy either. You can't say that the Saints versus Panthers were getting
I
me
mean, when's
all
the last
hot and
time
bothered.
Monday night game was like? I feel like they're always kind of meh. They always get like the dirty teams or like the scrappy teams. I don't know.
That's true. Throw out a couple matchups for you that they have. So after week 4, they have the Falcons versus Jaguars. I don't know if anyone is asking for that game. Couple other ones, decent ones. I
Is that
mean,
in London?
the Pack. You would think with those two teams, Packers versus Raiders again. Like what? Like that is the most like
That's
oddly
a weird
separated team. Like
choice. Yeah.
those two teams could care less about each other. The Raiders versus Lions again, interesting game
They have
choice.
Raiders on back-to-back Monday nights.
No, it was scattered a little bit, but
Oh,
I'm just bouncing through the schedule. Just a lot of like, just I mean, there's some decent games. Like obviously they have the Super Bowl rematch. Some of them like the Jets versus Chargers could have been fun, but Rodgers got hurt. Vikings and Niners, must see
we
TV.
play two
That
Monday
could be
night
good.
games.
We do.
Interesting. I don't like Monday night games for as a fan.
Well, that's because you don't have cable, as we learned.
No, I can still watch the games. I just don't like Monday late night day after being at work all day and then going to watch. I don't know.
Don't worry. Well, we'll get a GoFundMe started. Donate so Dakota can watch the doubleheader for Monday Night Football.
I'll just tell ESPN to stop being cheap and fix their servers because every time I try to stream, it's terrible. They
I
always
love you
kick me
calling out a
out.
$1 billion company for being cheap, but
No,
Mister, I don't have
honestly,
cable. It's
their app is atrocious. Their app is so bad. The amount of times it just dies or glitches out on me. And it's not my phone because I've asked other people, and they've had the same problem. So
it's a tough world. We're just, it's Disney's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah, moving on. Another one of those weird late games that surprised. Falcons came back and beat the Packers 25-24. I mean, Jordan Love was like cruising all game, and then I saw the Falcons won. I was like, the fuck happened?
Yeah,
Um,
it must be nice for the Falcons to come back on someone.
yeah, yeah. Usually they're the ones getting
I
I
mean,
mean,
I think they're like they've been okay recently, but I feel like ever since that Super Bowl, there was like a 3 year stretch where they were just like it was almost every week. They just couldn't
yeah.
stop doing it to themselves.
It was actually like every sports team in Georgia was like losing to comebacks. It was a pretty wild time. But so what else we got? So then we had losing my spot here because you're jumping around. Oh, Bills took care of the Raiders 38-10. Josh Allen looked really, really good. I think he was like I forget his completion percentage exactly, but it was
I think he
pretty.
missed like 6 passes. He was like 31-37 or something. Yeah, that was it. That
But
was a
yeah,
beatdown.
look at you, 31-37, 274 yards,
Um,
3 tutties, 0 picks.
listen, he might have been in contention for the stud list. Just saying, I do my
Oh,
research.
oh, okay. So they took care of business, and then this again, Chargers looked like they were going to beat the Titans. Now I look at the scoreboard; they lost in overtime to the Titans. I was like, what? What happened?
Dude, the Chargers are such a
Chokers.
joke. Like
Hello,
but
chokers.
it's like every year. Like they have so many they're just littered with superstars just up and down on the roster. They look so good on paper, and they just suck every single year. Like,
Honestly, it's been
and
like
by
this
suck
since
I mean
Philip
even if
Rivers
they
was
get
there.
six, oh dude, it's just a running trend. They'll have talent, but they just suck. They just
Yeah.
don't do anything with it. When have they ever been in like a meaningful game? Now, well, I mean, they came, now they're already bringing up, have you guys gotten over the Jaguars loss? Like, that's going to be hanging over their head for the rest of the season. Once you mentioned it, now it's Pandora's box has been opened.
Oh, they're
Now
0
no one's
2
going to
now.
stop thinking
Yeah.
about it.
They're 0
Oh, they
2.
stink. They're awful.
Ooh.
They're just awful. They're,
Sure.
you know what they remind me of? They're the LA Angels of football. They just, a whole bunch of good players on paper, and they suck every single year.
So, isn't that interesting that arguably the top four teams from the AFC that were predicted to go to the Super Bowl, 1-1 Bills, 1-1 Chiefs, 0-2 Bengals, 0-2 Chargers. NFC side.
No one was picking the Chargers.
Oh, I saw a couple.
No,
Who else
definitely.
besides the Bills? Ravens? But like,
I take the Ravens over the Chargers, man. What is the Chargers? Like I said, they every year
no,
they come in with a nice
It's this
list of.
Justin Herbert hype that, and we talked about during the QB episode. All three of us were in agreement that he's become Matt Stafford, where he's just empty stats. He looks good when he's on the field, but then they don't win games. They don't finish. They don't do anything in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, you know what they have in common? A terrible defense. Like,
Hmm.
look at a guy like
They
Khalil
have
Mack.
talent on
Khalil
defense
Mack
too,
has
but
Khalil
they
Mack
don't
has
show up.
5 tackles. That's it. That's his stat line. He has 5 tackles in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
This all star, Pro Bowl, superstar player. I know he's a little older, but dude, 5 tackles. That's his. There, he has no other stat besides 5 tackles. He has 5 more tackles than you, Dakota, and that's it. If you got 5 tackles in the NFL, you and Khalil Mack have the same exact stat line. It's
But
just ridiculous.
like I was saying, so AFC side, 1-1 or 0-2 Super Bowl contenders. NFC side, 2-0 Eagles, 2-0 49ers. Sadly, the 2-0 Cowboys.
Falcons are
FC
2-0.
FC is
Buccaneers are
looking
2-0.
like some
Everyone's 2-0.
powers, but speaking of those terrible Cowboys, they beat the Jets. I mean, Zach Wilson looked horrible, but beat the Jets 30-10. I mean, their offense looked like better. I gave them a lot of shit because not a lot of shit, but I was like, look, they didn't have to do anything against the Giants, so don't be surprised if they blow a game because the offense can't, put up points if they struggle and Dak's throwing picks or whatever. But I mean, they showed up, they played.
I mean, they didn't have to do too much. They were going to Zach Wilson. The defense, I'll give you this. The defense looks like menacing.
I
They're
am scared.
ferocious.
I am scared of the
I
Dallas
mean,
defense.
you're going against the Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson, so I'm not going to get too wet in my pants, but
Yeah,
they are definitely a solid unit. Dan
yeah,
Quinn, man, he's one of those like I know he had success with the Falcons, but he's one of those guys he's better as a coordinator. Shouldn't be a head coach. The Steve
yeah.
Spagnuolas, the Bill O'Briens. Not that they're awful. Like Bill O'Brien had some playoff Texan teams. Obviously, Quinn brought him to the Super Bowl, but like these guys should be coordinators,
Hmm.
and they're like so good. Spagnuolo's never once thought about taking a head coaching job again, and he's won
Yeah,
2 Super Bowls.
yeah. He's probably better off. Um, 49ers lost, or excuse me, they beat the Rams 30-23. I thought it was hilarious that the Rams kicked a field goal with time expiring. I don't know if Sean McVay was being petty, if someone internally had a bet on the game and they needed to meet the spread. I don't know, but it was weird.
You know what? Listen, got to do what you got to do.
And here's another comeback game. Cardinals were stomping the Giants, and then Giants came back second half and won 31-28. So
Tell me this: did it feel? Where were your emotions? Were you happier that Jonathan Gannon, got crushed and humiliated and embarrassed by, losing a huge lead like that? Or sadder because the Giants managed to come back and win a game that you'd rather see them drop and go 0-2?
I mean, I at this point I don't care about Gannon and what he does, so I'd rather see the Giants lose.
I mean, I'm a little petty, so I'll move on after this week. But I'm not gonna lie, seeing his stupid face after they blew that lead, it kind
He's
of felt
he's
nice.
he's just
I'll
there.
move on. I'll
He's
move on because we know we know they're not going to win many games. But I
he's
had my moment. I can now move on.
he's just there to be a body in a seat. He's not going to be there. He's not head coach material right now, or maybe
Yeah,
ever.
it's
Uh, what else we have? Commanders again, a little bit of a comeback. Beat the Broncos 35-33. They are now 2-0. Their
wow.
defense looks pretty decent. They making plays. I mean, Sam Howell's been serviceable. Um,
He's there. He's doing his thing.
so Dolphins had a close one with the Patriots, 24-17. It's a pretty okay game for Sunday Night Football. Um, you know, but Dolphins took care of business. They're 2-0. And then Saints, like you said, we had doubleheader Monday night. Saints beat the Panthers 20-17. And then
That's another defense that looks like menacing.
the Saints, yeah, they look
Welcome,
good.
welcome to the NFL, Bryce Young. That dude, he was like going through the ringer.
Did
They
you
had him in sorts.
did you see the play? They were lining up in the end zone or the red zone, and Miles Sanders like taps Bryce Young to
Oh
move
yeah.
over because he wasn't under center. I was like,
He was
oh
probably shitting
boy,
his pants. He
oh
was getting
boy.
ruined all the. I mean, he'll be okay, but that defense looks really good.
Yeah, they do look solid. And then horrible injury for Nick Chubb, who's
Mm.
out for the year now. Steelers took the win 26-22. Pretty ugly offensive game, but good defensive battle. I think I saw Deshaun Watson throw 15 sideline passes that were just a bit too high. Um,
Yeah, he
so
doesn't look good.
no, I'm
Can
surprised.
you even like that? You can't be that surprised. He didn't play football for 2 years.
Well, yeah, but he played he played 6 games last year. He's had a whole offseason. I mean, I remember when he was on Houston's team, my problem with him was what that was like he would look good in the game, but like they weren't winning. And then they would make the playoffs and they weren't winning playoff games. So it's like
Hmm.
I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be the same story with him.
Yeah,
But
we'll see. He
yeah,
is on the Browns. You got to remember, every quarterback gets significantly worse once they play for the Browns.
that's true. Terrible sad for Chubb. He's from what I heard, he's one of the nicer guys in the league. But it's stuff. Hey,
Listen, I don't care if
my
you.
fantasy team is hurting now because I have Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, who's still not playing, Kenneth Gainwell, who's hopefully back but probably out, but probably not starting now.
Kenneth Gainwell, your team was relying on Kenneth Gainwell. You
Well,
had bigger problems for
no,
the Chubb getting hurt.
he was my third back, but I yeah, we'll see what
That's all
goes
right.
on with
My
that.
team
But
lost Dobbins and Aaron Rodgers week one. Thankfully, we didn't lose anyone
I
this week,
lost
but
Rogers
we
too. Yeah.
we could definitely use some Achilles on this team.
Funny enough, I
But
lost Rogers and I replaced him with Jordan Love, and I won my matchup.
there you go.
So
So what are we thinking? We happy? We sad? Are you giddy because you won, or are you sad because Chubb's gone forever?
I think I went 4-0 in fantasy this week, which I hate having four fantasy teams, but it is what it is. It's how it happened. But no, I would much rather have Chubb healthy than you know. I mean, fantasies. You get a couple $100 at the end of the year, but I was
I
hoping
feel like
Chubb would have a great
I could
year.
have
And
asked you. I could ask you like a question on like international politics, and you would have found a way to loop in the fact that you went 4-0 in fantasy this week. That was coming out regardless of whatever we were talking
I
about.
mean, you
You had that in
asked.
the chamber. I was making my transition to stud and dud. I didn't give a shit about your 4-0.
Oh,
Yeah, this is what you hear. Oh, you want to know about my fantasy teams? Let me tell you all about it. All right, well, moving on. Since you're on your high horse, Mr. 4-0, we'll start with the studs. So, stud list this week. It's all skill players, no quarterbacks, which is usually
oh,
surprising. I know we mentioned Josh Allen. Yeah, it's quarterbacks usually always find their way on this list. But I know we talked about Josh Allen. He was in contention. He was right there. We were thinking about it. I think 31-37 had me giddy just from the get go. Um, but this one, we're going to take a guy from a very explosive offense. It looks like this year, put up big numbers back to back weeks, and listen, as long as he can stay healthy, I think that's been his whole entire career. But 18 carries, 121 yards with two tutties, with a nice 6.7 average. Going with the speedster, Raheem Mostert, to start us off on our stud list.
Oh, very nice. I
Yeah,
gotta
see, I thought
kind
you
of
would
attacking me
appreciate
at the
that.
moment. Keep
Look at
going.
you, multitasker.
Yeah, he did play
He's
really well.
he's he's in a good system. The dude just needs to stay healthy.
That's
He's
the
like
story for
extremely talented,
every running back needs to stay healthy.
but he's like so talented. Been in great rushing systems his entire career,
And they wonder
and then he
why they
usually
don't
gets
get huge
hurt.
contracts. It's because they don't stay healthy. They take too much of a beating.
Well, we
Whether
digress.
it's
So
fair or
moving
not,
on,
you know.
while keeping with the trend, we're going to go with another running back. This
Hmm.
one is one that you know and love. And like I said, it was a while ago, but just like a fine wine, it's worth the wait.
Hmm.
So for 28 carries, 175 yards with a
Hmm.
nice 6.3 average and a tutty,
Oh wow.
we're going to go with Mr. DeAndre Swift.
Hmm. Yeah, he
Going
looked
forward, does
nice.
DeAndre Swift see another?
He
Is this,
he
are we expecting this 25 carries, 28 carries a game now?
no, but he better be the starting back. He better be getting 16, 18 touches. I don't see why he looked much better than Gainwell did.
He did look very
Um,
good.
he
I don't
he
know why we
looks
started with Gainwell anyway in
he
week
looks
one.
strong too. Like he wasn't just like shifty, when he was running. He was going through holes. He was running, running people, making
Yeah.
contact. He looked good. Maybe he was just juiced
Listen, I
because
mean,
hometown game, first time in Eagles green starting. But I think
very,
we could
very
get a
true.
couple hundred yard games out of him.
I'm all for it. I mean, this is what I kind of expected. Again, guy just needs to stay healthy. He's always been really productive, but I'm glad they relied on him a little bit. I'd like to see him more and more, and just some more creative concepts. Like run some options with him and Hurts,
Oh
and
yeah,
throw some
or
Gainwell in there.
Devontae,
But
AJ. Like there's so much
yeah,
speed on this team for them to be so boring.
so much talent. But I digress.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on. So number one stud this week. He is not a running back, but he's a personal fan favorite of the show. Or we are a personal fan favorite, I should say. Guy who managed to put up 171 yards, which is impressive, don't get me wrong. But when you factor in that he did it in 6 receptions, Mr. Explosion threw in a touchdown and somehow is making Baker Mayfield look like a competent stud quarterback and has his team at 2-0. We're going to go with Mike Evans at number one stud spot this week.
Look at that, your buddy.
Listen, whenever we get a chance to throw Mike Evans out there, I think it's needed. But dude, come on, like they're 2-0. He's 2 games. He's 12 receptions, 237 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He's
This guy's
doing
just
yeah.
he's money. He's got that
You could
1,000 yards wrapped up again.
you give him any quarterback off the street, and
Literally,
he's getting a
literally,
thousand
and
yards.
he's doing it with Baker Mayfield. Like this, I
Well, granted,
cannot
Baker
like
Mayfield throws a good.
underestimate that.
He throws a good deep ball too, so it's like works well for him.
I mean, still 171 yards. You can't fake that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Bears suck, but still, very impressive.
I do.
So
I do
Mike
think
Evans
it's.
comes in.
I do think it's funny that on my dynasty team, uh, I have Devontae Smith and DK Metcalf, and you're like, oh well, you throw Mike Evans in the flex, he'll be make a couple yards, like maybe down to maybe around 10 points a game because he's a little older. No, he's been the MVP so far at receiver. I mean, Devontae's been phenomenal too. DK on the other hand has been pretty absent. So
I'm gonna set an over under going forward about how many times you like low key brag about your fantasy team.
hey man, when you win, you win, and when you
Okay, we've had
winning,
enough
you're
from you.
winning.
All right, moving on. So going to the dud list.
Mm-hmm.
So our third dud this week is a running back that actually played in that Thursday night game that we already mentioned. A running back that was not nearly as effective as DeAndre Swift. Only had 8 carries, only managed 28 yards, and didn't do much in the passing game either. 3 receptions for 11 yards and had a really tough fumble as well. One of 4 players on his team didn't have a fumble, actually, and all 4 of them got lost. So that's tough. You're never going to win a game like that. But,
No.
I mean, really dud. He's not really been, anything special this year. So, as you were saying, the argument of why would you value running backs? All I know is, Dalvin Cook looked a hell of a lot better last year than Alexander Madison looks this year. So, Alexander Madison creeping in our third dud spot this year. But, I
Yeah,
mean, seriously, like
he's done nothing.
this. I'm on team running back. Don't get me wrong. There are injuries.
Yeah,
Barkley got
same.
hurt. Chubb's hurt for the year. But
That is true.
you
Barkley did get
cannot
hurt.
tell me, you cannot tell me that guys like Chubb or Barkley don't make a difference. Guys like Dalvin Cook, like Madison has 19 carries for 62 yards on the season. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look good at all. Let's see how good this Giants offense looks now. The Barkley's hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so Alexander Madison, two running backs from the same game on the studs and duds list here.
Nice.
Moving on. First mention of a quarterback on either of these lists this week. A former number 1 overall pick who didn't even manage to score a single touchdown this week and went a disgusting 22 out of 41 for 216 yards and no tutties with 4 sacks. Really, really not very efficient numbers. The whole offense kind of stunk, minus Christian Kirk somehow had 110 yards. But they weren't really going against the juggernaut. They really needed to score points. You already touched on it. He missed a lot of his opportunities. The whole team did. But I think this was a big game for Trevor Lawrence to really step up and make a name for himself going into a year we all have him as a breakout. And he did not do it. So Trevor makes a spot on the dud list at number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give them the Jags credit. They only lost by, 8 points. But yeah, you gotta do more. Yeah.
Chiefs defense isn't that great.
Yeah, they're not world beaters.
No. All right, moving on to our number 1 dud. Now this guy, listen, the amount of shit talking he did in this offseason, you would have expected him to come out guns a-blazing. Let me just throw this out to you, Dakota. Did you know that the Denver Broncos were 2-1 in their first 3 games last year?
2-1, okay.
And that was with the worst coach ever in the history of the universe, according to Sean Payton. But Mr. Sean Payton, who comes in, gets traded for a first-round pick, shit talks Nathaniel Hackett to next week and talks about how great Russell Wilson is and everything's going to be okay. His Denver Broncos are now 0-2 to start the season. And you know what? We can say whatever we want about the Commanders and their defense and all this. And yeah, the Broncos were making a comeback and that's all cute and well. But listen, the Denver Broncos are now 0-2 with losses to the Raiders, who just got smashed, and the Commanders. This team, they look terrible. They look as bad as they did last year. Yeah. And for all the shit talking Sean Payton did, I expected a little bit better than this.
So
Nathaniel Hackett had a very rough Sunday. His team got smashed by the Cowboys and his season's not looking great now that Rodgers turned. But I guarantee you he cracked a smile watching Sean Payton's Broncos lose on the 2-point conversion. That probably was the penalty, but they're 0-2. Yeah. And man, Sean, you talked a lot of shit. You better start backing it up real quick, because Nathaniel Hackett at least had a win by this point last season.
Yeah. Nice of you to put a coach on the duds list. I like that.
Listen, no one's safe. I
will say that Hail Mary was pretty sick though, because what do you I mean, you weren't you didn't play defensive back much, but I mean, I feel like they preach this to every position. When the ball's in the air and you're on defense, you swat it down, not try to catch it, especially in a Hail Mary situation. You swat that down, and looks like everyone's going for the ball and hot potato into the end zone into a Denver Bronco receiver hand. So,
listen, I think that might make it look worse, to be honest. That tell me the offensive guru Sean Payton couldn't come up with a play, a guaranteed money-making 2-point conversion when you absolutely needed it. They only needed 2 yards and he couldn't do it. I mean, sure, say what you want about pass interference, but I don't know. There wasn't really anything there. That wasn't like you were throwing to a guy that was open or anything. It was still pretty, covered.
It's weird. Like I've always liked Russ. Obviously a big fan of like Pat Surtain and a bunch of I have a lot of friends who were strangely Broncos fans, but I never liked Sean Payton. So I'm like, it's kind of cool to see him fail in a way, but like, I don't know. It's weird that they still can't get it together.
I could see, like, he talked a lot of shit, and I like, he was obviously defending Russell and trying to put the blame on someone else. And I think he's trying to take a lot of that attention to get some pressure off Russell, because obviously Wilson is just getting crushed because he's been awful. But like, dude, you need to start backing it up a little bit. Like this, but it's also scoring 16 points against the Raiders and then allowing 35 to the Commanders. Like these are polar opposites. The Bills smashed the Raiders and had no problem scoring touchdowns. Sam Howell is leading this Commanders who just dropped 35 on you. Like these are completely polar opposites.
Now it helps to have, a franchise quarterback for any coach, but I've seen coaches win games with not the best, quarterbacks. Sean Payton's had Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, and Russell Wilson, Hall of Famer. Doesn't have many excuses.
Yeah. So, going off that, not to get too into this one because obviously it's early. If Russell cannot turn it around, and this is just the new Russell, is he still a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he just premature ending to his career. I still think his first like what 8 years or 7 years were like historic for what he was, the yards and stuff and the completions and touchdown interception ratio and all that shit. Like I feel like he's got a lot of numbers. He's got a ring. So
All right, fair enough. We'll put the
I
bookmark in it. We'll,
yeah.
we'll we'll close the book on it. We'll
I
we'll, we'll
mean,
revisit it at some point if Sean Payton doesn't
often
get his shit together.
oftentimes when you're the best quarterback ever in your franchise, well, actually, okay, I was gonna say Donovan
I mean,
McNabb is the best Eagles quarterback, but he's not probably going to the Hall of Fame.
I think Bernie
But
Kosar is the best quarterback in Browns history, and I don't know
well,
if
Browns
his
have,
name's ever going to get called.
it's kind of wild. Browns have that poor of quarterback history, but yeah. So all right,
We'll put a bookmark on that one. But let's do it. What do
that's
you got
good.
next?
All right, moving on to some too much whiz, which is I feel like last time we did this, I said I was hungry, and I'm hungry once again because I have not eaten yet. So too much whiz, Mr. Timothy. The Cowboys are actually legit, and they are a serious threat to the Eagles' NFC East repeat chances.
I mean, I'll say not too much. I'll give them their cherries for right now,
Okay.
or their kudos, or whatever the saying is.
Cherries? Who says that?
I don't know. I mean, one thing they have going for them is the NFC is so weak. You know,
Mm,
that third spot behind the Eagles and Niners was wide open. They clearly have it, and they've played really well. You know, I'm not gonna act like they haven't played really well. Their defense looks like a juggernaut and looks like for
it
real. They look
does.
like a
It
defense that
is. Granted,
if
it's
the offense,
Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson, but they do look
yeah,
pretty
but
good.
if the Eagles play calling doesn't get it more exciting and they get a little cleaner on some of these things, then I think they'll have trouble with that defense. But
Mm.
I mean, this offense, I'm not sold on yet. You know, CeeDee Lamb's a stud, but you're still waiting for your number two option. You know, this was the problem last year. They never had someone to step up in Amari Cooper's absence. Pollard's been decent so far, I think. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
don't know.
hasn't
You can't
really
really gauge it,
been.
but
He's
he
been
hasn't needed to.
explosive, but he hasn't been like crazy.
I mean, they've
Yeah,
been dominating every single game. But I mean, again, another guy that's a little unproven because he's always been, you know, not handcuffed, but sharing the backfield with Zeke. And then the other one is Dak. I mean, how far is Dak going to take you?
yeah.
I don't know if I believe. I don't know if I think Dax can win a division over the Eagles right now. The defense scares me, but the offense, I'll wait and see. But I'll give them their cherries for right now. They're at least in the consideration for the NFC.
Okay. Next question, as I'm getting just slaughtered by my kitten. Too much whiz. Justin Fields is a bust.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to think Justin Fields stinks. I mean, he was nice last year as a runner mostly. Don't get me wrong, that team was still the worst team in football, and the Bears do suck. Like that's for sure. They are a terrible team, but he's not made any progress. He looks like the same exact quarterback as he did last year.
So
They
we
got
had to
DJ Moore. Nothing's changed.
yeah, we had to listen to who was it? James Jones was like Justin Fields is going to be better than Jalen Hurts, and he doesn't get enough respect. He's just as good a quarterback. I mean, everyone complained, oh, he Fields doesn't have any help. He, added some pieces to O-line's. O-line's still not very good, but it's better than last year. Added at one point he was arguably a top 15, maybe creeping the top 10 wide receiver, DJ Moore.
Yeah,
You had Claypool, who at one point was doing things in Pittsburgh. You
Claypool
know,
sucks.
so when are we going to run out of excuses for Justin Fields?
It's just, I mean, he's the same player. Like
It's just his third
I
year, and
remember,
he hasn't shown me any progression.
I mean, I
At least
remember
Jalen looked
Jalen's
better.
first year.
Yeah, Jalen looked bad in the
His
first year. Then year two, he looked better. Year three, he looked phenomenal.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like Jalen, like I remember that Saints game vividly, the one they won an upset. Like, you know, he looked pretty good, but he was rushing the ball. I mean, I wasn't really
Yeah,
impressed with the throws he was making or anything, but he was just running the ball really well and he looked dominant on the ground game. But you know, you were like, all right, well, we knew he could do that, and he could probably still do that, but you need to take the next step. You need to be able to throw the ball, be accurate, make some reads. And obviously he did a great job of that, and he's just gotten so much better. And then the team got better around him, and obviously that culminated to an incredible season last year.
yeah,
And yeah, the Bears do suck, but you can't tell me that they just need more talent. Justin Fields doesn't look good. He doesn't look like he's reading the field very well. He doesn't look very accurate on the arm. You know, the rushing has always been there, but that's going to be there. It's the other parts he needs to work on.
yeah. Where I don't hear all the Justin Fields the running back things. Everyone always says Jalen Hurts the running back, but Look, he was 16 of 29, 211 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. That's not good.
Yeah, he should
I
have been on the
mean,
dud list, but what are we gonna do?
hmm. And my final one, fairly similar to my above question, but too much whiz. Zach Wilson is not the Jets starting quarterback by week 6. So that's like 4 more games.
That was
Trade
tough. I
deadline's week
mean,
8.
well, I'll say this. I'll say not too much whiz, but they're not bringing in someone else. It'll be the backup. They'll roll with someone else, like Mike White or whoever the hell the guy back is. Like who is out there that you're going to bring in?
I don't know. Nick was saying apparently Vikings might try and ship out Kirk Cousins in his contract year if they keep sucking. Who knows?
Yeah, but what? But if you're the Jets, like they're in a weird position because obviously Aaron Rodgers comes back, he's still your quarterback next year. Like, are you just going to trade Kirk Cousins and then let him go?
I think
I mean,
also
quarterbacks aren't cheap to get.
they were so overhyped just because they got Aaron Rodgers. Granted, they do have some talented players, but like they didn't prove anything last year, and they got more players, more talent. But look what Chargers did the same thing. They got a ton of talent, and did nothing with it. So I think the Jets they overhyped themselves. They're a little overhyped in the media. I think it's an Aaron Rodgers effect, but I mean they didn't really do
Yeah.
anything against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys,
I
you
mean, it's
know,
just the thing I have against the trade is the AFC is really tough, and they're obviously 0-2 now.
hmm.
Like, if you're going to make a trade, you got to do it immediately. And they seem pretty, and I don't disagree with this. Like, listen, you put a lot of capital into Zach Wilson. Give him his last shot. I'd say roll him out there, give him his last shot, give him a chance. Obviously he was benched. He benched, started throughout his career. You roll him out there, like your quarterback's Aaron Rodgers, and he's coming back next year. Give Wilson the last chance this season. If he does something good, maybe you make some noise this year. You can let him go. Maybe you trade him, or you have at least a guy you can rely on if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back. Or, you close the door, you're like, you know what, Zach Wilson stinks. We know it. We tried it. Move on. This season's a write off. We bring back Rodgers next year and try it again.
I mean, we were just talking about how bad Justin Fields was. Zach Wilson went 12 27, 170 yards, one touchdown, three interceptions.
Oh yeah, though he looks
Also
terrible.
led the
But
Jets in rushing, 36 yards.
yeah, I don't. I
Yikes.
mean, I don't see it. I don't see what quarterback's going to come out there. I mean, the Vikings would have to implode to give up on Cousins. Like, I the Vikings, I'm sure, look at their division and think we could definitely win this. They look at the NFC and think, damn,
Mm.
we could definitely get in the playoffs. You're not going to just punt on Justin Jeff or on Kirk Cousins. Plus, you're about to sign Justin Jefferson, or you're at least going to try to. I don't think getting rid of Kirk Cousins in the middle of the season is going to be something that is going to win over Jefferson.
Fair point. All right. That concludes the studs and duds and too much whiz. So now we can move on to our power rankings. So not too much movement this week, but so we got Eagles staying at number 1, obviously, because go Birds.
Go
Um,
Birds.
until they lose, I don't see why they would be dethroned from the 1 spot.
I agree.
49ers at 2, they stay. Cowboys move up to 3 because unfortunately they have looked pretty good. Chiefs at 4, Dolphins at 5, Ravens moving into the top 10 at number 6 here. There you are, 2-0. Bills at number 7, back on the win side of things. Allen looked pretty good. Like we said, Saints defense looks pretty legit. Put them in at number 8. They're 2-0. Granted, I don't know if they'll remain on this power ranking list for much longer, but they're there now. Jags, like we said, struggled a lot, but still barely lost by a possession to the Chiefs. They're 9. And then the Lions, I think, are still gonna win that division, still gonna get it together, but they're number 10 now for us. So I think pretty good power rankings. I don't see that changing too much as the year goes on. But we will, you never know, team surprise. So we shall see what
Very true.
happens. Moving on to our game picks. I had a nice rebound. I went 10-6 after I went 6-10 week one, so much improved. I do have to apologize. I miscounted yours from last week.
You scumbag.
You were actually 9-7,
Oh,
instead of seven
you
and
just
nine.
disgust me.
You went nine and
You
seven
disgust
again.
9-7 and 7. That's not even close. How did you mess up that bad?
I don't know. I'm
You
not sure.
disgust
I
me.
think I just flipped the numbers in my head.
That doesn't even make sense.
But so I sit at 16-16, not great. You are 18-14.
Okay.
And we have our guest picks have gone 10-6 in back-to-back weeks. So they are 20-12. They are wiping the floor with us. We can't let this go
It's
on
all
much
right.
longer.
Listen, I'll be where I need to be. You, on the other hand.
Hey, what about yourself? All right.
All right, all right.
So
But
let's get into it. Starting off, and we don't have a guest pick yet, but we will. Um, by the start of
get
the
someone that doesn't know
Thursday.
football because we could use it.
No, we don't play games like that around here. Um, starting off Thursday, Giants and 49ers. Is this a trap game for the Niners? What are we feeling?
No. Yeah, the Giants look terrible, and the Niners looked incredible. There's not much to think about here.
Yeah, I haven't really watched any of the Niners games, so I don't even know what how Brock Purdy's been doing. But I mean, they played two pretty meh teams the first 2 weeks of the season, so we'll see.
I
But
mean, it doesn't matter what Brock Purdy's doing. The team is just absolutely loaded everywhere.
the defense is gross. So, um, first Sunday action, we got Falcons at the Lions. I think the Lions get a nice rebound win here. Do you think the Falcons go 3-0?
Um, I do kind of like what I'm seeing from the Falcons, but I think the Lions need a bounce back here. I'm going to
Okay,
go with the Lions as well.
okay. Next game is the Chargers. Chargers at the Vikings. Man, talk about two teams that desperately need a win.
I'm
Ooh,
taking Minnesota. They got a long week. The Chargers just suck. I'm so done with the Chargers. I can definitely see a shootout here. A nice Vikings like
this is
38 to 35 kind of shootout.
must see TV. Is this Tim's must see TV game of the week?
Of course, brother. I'm going Vikings though.
I'm gonna take the Chargers here just to be opposite of you, but I also can't see them going 0-3. I can see the Vikings going 0-3. I think the Chargers are a better team, but we'll see. Both teams are just disappointments. Next game, we have the Saints at the Packers. This is actually pretty interesting.
You know what? Derek Carr looks very mediocre. But everyone like Michael Thomas's resurgence looks good. Olave's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Derek Carr sucks. Like he just looks so bad, and yet his wide receivers keep eating somehow. Defense legit. I'm taking the Saints. I think they have like the makings when Kamara comes back. They have a nice makings of a good team here.
Hmm. This is tough. I wanna go against you, but I'm kind of in the same boat here. Um, you know what? I'll take the Packers. I need to see. I'm at this weird like I got to make up ground, but I don't want to dig a hole. But I think this game is kind of a coin flip because Packers showed that they can be good. They just fell apart at the end, and then Saints, like you said, Carr hasn't been anything special, but their defense has been really good. So good test for Jordan Love. Next game on the docket, we have Jaguars and the Texans. I'm going to put pencil in the Jaguars for the both of us.
Yeah,
Moving
it's a get
on.
right game. Smells like a get right game.
This also might be a pencil it in. Dolphins and the Broncos in Miami.
Oh, that one is actually tough because
Really? I'm picking Dolphins. I don't give a fuck about Sean Payton.
yeah, you know what? I am taking Miami, but dude, I mean,
There's
I was maybe I'm a week early by putting Sean Payton as number one dud. If they go 0-3, oh boy, it's gonna get ugly real quick in Denver.
there are a lot of teams in jeopardy of going 0-3 this week that are like not shouldn't be 0-3 teams. So we will see.
We'll see.
So you're taking Dolphins, you said?
I am, yeah.
Next game we have is the Titans at the Browns. Clash
Oof,
of
this
some
one's tough.
AFC garbage
You know
right
what?
now.
Because I picked the Chargers as my like I like them on the spread, and I thought for sure they would beat the Titans. Like, who the fuck are the Titans? But the Titans showed some juice. They proved me wrong. Deshaun Watson has not. I'm going to take the Titans here. I think they pull out another W.
All right. Once again, I'm just going to oppose you, and I will go with the Browns here. I think I mean, Browns offensively have not looked great. Now that Chubb's gone, they're really not going to look great. Um, I think their backup running back came in forward. He did pretty well though. But their defense looks pretty like Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett are a terror. They were
That's
all
true.
over Pickett last night. So we'll see. We'll see if the defense can kind of, hey, Rodney McLeod, former Eagle, was making some plays.
True.
Greg Newsome looked solid. Denzel Ward looked good. Browns defense might have to carry them, so we'll see. Um, Another game on 1 o'clock. We have the Bills at the Commanders. Is this an upset game? Commanders go 3-0.
I can't see it. I mean, they've looked good, but I just can't see it. The Bills seem like last week they seem to have found their form. I have to think that they beat the Commanders.
Yeah, I think their little win streak ends here. I think the Bills take care of business. I think it could be surprisingly close. I don't think Buffalo's going to destroy them. I think it'll probably be like a 10-point win or a 7-point win for Buffalo, but I think they get the dub. Colts at the Ravens. I don't know if Richardson's going to play, but Ravens they're kind of like the Eagles. They've been playing like kind of rough, but they're beginning wins. I think that continues for them. I think they go 3-0.
Yeah, I do too. The Colts just aren't a good team. I like Richardson. He's shown some promise, but
Mm,
the Colts are not good. I'll take
yeah.
the Ravens.
Patriots at the Jets. I
There's
can't
no
see
way
Belichick.
Patriots are going to three.
Yeah, I
I
can't
can't see
see
it either.
Belichick going on 3. So
Was it Zach Wilson the one that said he thought he was seeing ghosts or whatever when they played the Patriots on Monday Night Football?
I don't think it was Zach Wilson, but I do think it was a Jets quarterback.
Maybe it was Darnold. Maybe it was before that.
You know what? I think it was. I think it was Darnold.
Well, if Darnold saw ghosts, Zach Wilson's about to see the Omen. Because I don't think this is going to go well for him.
I just put in Jets QB seeing, and it came up Jets QB seeing ghosts. It
Yeah,
was
well,
Sam Darnold.
let's see how it goes for Wilson.
Unwittingly told a national television audience that he was seeing ghosts on the field as the Jets played the Patriots on Monday Night Football.
Hmm.
All right, moving on. Panthers at the Seahawks in Seattle. I don't think Bryce Young's quite ready for that kind of stage. I think Seattle takes care of business. They're a good team. They showed that last week and a nice comeback against the Lions. So
Yeah, this I'm tempted by this one. I
ooh,
am.
ooh,
I
go for
am.
it. Go for it.
But not right now. It's
Okay.
just not meant to be right now. It's not meant to be right now.
It's not the
He's
kettle's
not
not quite hot yet.
like you said, he's not there yet. He's still very raw. I think Bryce Young could be good, but he's still very raw.
Hmm. Okay. So you're taking Seattle.
Yeah.
Next game, Bears at the Chiefs. Okay, KC for me,
Oh
KC
yeah.
for
This
you.
yeah, this will be a get right game.
Um, 4 o'clock, Cowboys at the Cardinals. Maybe this is an upset game. Maybe who the fuck's playing quarterback for the Cardinals? Josh Dobbs? Like,
Yeah, no, I don't.
uh,
Like I said, I've moved on from Jonathan Gannon. I no longer laugh and I don't get excited for his pain anymore. I
yeah.
want him to win this, but he won't. He will lose by 40.
Bold prediction: he's gonna lose by 40.
But do you know what I can't stand though? Monday, September 25th, when everyone is just losing their mind because the Cowboys are now 3-0 and blew out another team. Oh boy, this is just gonna get
When
awful.
when are we
They're
gonna get
gonna
the whole
oh
they have a cupcake schedule excuse that
oh
the
no
Eagles had
no
to
no no
listen
no
to
not
all
for the
year?
Cowboys. No, the Cowboys,
Yeah.
no, they don't get that. No, they never get that.
Giants, Jets, Cardinals. What a fucking joke.
Yeah, that's no.
Ay,
And
all
everyone will
right.
be just too busy drooling.
Um, Next game is Steelers at the Raiders.
Ugh, it's a
I'm gonna
very
take.
unsexy
I was
Sunday
about to
night
say.
football
I was about to
game.
say Oakland. I'm gonna take Vegas. I'm gonna take the Raiders here. Jimmy
Really?
G's
I'll take
looked
Steelers.
okay.
I like the Steelers defense. They played well. I think they can
Yeah, I mean Steelers defense usually figures it out. Raiders Steelers, and then obviously again another doubleheader. Hopefully the last for Monday Night Football. Eagles at the Bucks. I think. I mean, I'm taking the Eagles. I'm just trying to think of like how this game's gonna go. I don't
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. It'll be
know.
close.
It'll be
Buccaneers
another.
don't look like a horrendous team. I think everyone expects them to be, but I think Baker Mayfield is going to be in some pressure
I
against
think this
this
might
this
be.
defense.
I think this is going to be unlike the previous two games. I think the Eagles will struggle in the first half, be losing at halftime, and then come out and play really good third and fourth quarters, and then end up winning by like two possessions, two scores. But
I
I
mean, I
think
think the Buccaneers defense is pretty solid. I can't fathom
it's also been off
Baker
for a while.
Mayfield. Yeah, I just can't fathom Baker Mayfield doing much to this defense. Yeah, the defense in moments in a vacuum has looked really good. There's been some moments of bad, but they've looked very good.
Yeah. And then the other game going on, uh, again, so Eagles start at 7:15 and the Bengals are at 8:15. So strange. Rams at the Bengals. They have to win. This is a must win for the Bengals.
The Rams are my biggest surprise 1-1 team. Like
Yeah,
they
they look
actually look
two
pretty
no-name
solid.
receivers doing numbers. You
Yo,
know,
hats off to Matthew Stafford. He's playing really well. No Cup. No, I couldn't name anyone on defense outside of Aaron Donald.
nope.
I can now name one offensive player outside of Matthew Stafford in Puka Nakua. Cam Akers is finally getting demoted because he sucks. But yeah, no, the Bengals have to win this. There's just no
Yeah.
way. There is zero way they lose this game.
If the Bengals lose,
Oh boy.
are they going to miss the playoffs? Do you think?
No, I can't roll them out that early. I mean, they're still a good
0
team.
3.
They're still a good team,
They're the
but
only three
this
team
would
made
be
the
a five-alarm
playoffs.
panic. Absolutely. It'll be a five-alarm panic if they lose, but they could still make the playoffs. I'm pretty
Since
confident there.
2002, 99 teams have started 0 3. Just one of those teams has made it to the playoffs. Do you know what team that was?
I feel like it was recent. I feel like it was,
2018.
yeah, it was a team that started slow and they went on a tear. They won like the next 12 or something. Oh, who was it though? Blanking on who it would have been now.
I'll give you a hint. It was in the
Uh,
AFC.
was it the Ravens?
No,
No,
different. Not that division.
it's not coming to me. Was it the Texans?
It was.
There we go.
Oh,
That's what I
I
thought
think
it
that
was. And
was
then
Deshaun
they
Watson's like second or last. I don't know. He was still in the
and then
Texans at the time.
that was the year they lost the was it the comeback against the Chiefs or the Colts?
I don't
It
remember.
was the
Andrew
Chiefs.
Luck. I
They
think
were
Andrew Luck was still playing at that time, so it might have been the Colts.
I think it was the Chiefs because it was the year they won the Super Bowl against the Niners. They were up by like 14 or 18 or whatever it was because the Chiefs came back on every playoff game that season.
Let's see. 2018 Texans.
What an
The
obscure like team.
Eagles beat them that year.
Well, that's because we're great.
They NFL wild card weekend, they beat the Bills in overtime. And then they
Wow.
got trashed by the Chiefs. 51-31. My God, 51 points in a playoff game. Whew.
51-31. What was it was a comeback though, wasn't it?
51-31. I don't know. I mean, Watson threw 52 passes, 388 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mahomes 321 yards, 5 touchdowns for Mahomes. Travis
I
Kelce
mean,
had
like
3 touchdowns. D Hop had over 100 receiving yards. So
yeah,
fucking.
the Chiefs were down 24-0. And they came back and
And they
scored like
scored
nearly
51 points? What?
dude, this is what I can barely remember what I
Oh,
did
yeah. I'm
last
looking
week,
at
but I
the.
remember
So
stupid shit like this.
first quarter, Houston scored 21 points. And then third quarter, they scored 3. And then KC
Yeah, the
scored
Chiefs scored
28.
28. You think, damn, wow,
What the fuck
21
is this?
points
I
in a
want
quarter
to
is
watch this
insane. And then
game.
the Chiefs go and put up 28.
Well, their game highlights is 15 minutes long, so that would explain how good the game was.
And
My
in that
God.
28 point second quarter. Travis Kelce scored 3 touchdowns in a row.
That's
The more you know.
crazy. Holy shit.
But we'll leave it on that. A 2018 playoff flashback. I had no idea we'd be bringing up the Texans versus Chiefs 2018, but my memory did pretty well there.
That's crazy. That was before the team fell apart.
Yeah, it's true. Bill O'Brien was still there.
They were 11-7, so that means they were 0-3, so they went 11-4 the rest of the way. It's pretty good.
Not bad.
That's what the Bengals got to hope for if they fucking lose. So, but they shouldn't lose to the Rams. We'll see though.
Alrighty, my friend.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Eagles fly and down with Sean Payton. Peace. Thank you again for listening to the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks Sports Podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe on all your major platforms. Follow us on YouTube. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Have a great day, and tune in next week.